Attention please. This uploading is only for educational purpose. No intention to infringe copyrights. Learning English with Subtitles GPITRAL. Follow us.
We are looking for a UK Eurovision entrant. The high scorers now are Sarah and Paul on 106. You want to be scoring 97 or less to be sure of going through to the next round. What are you going to go with, Pauline?
Well, I've got to say I feel the pressure's off a little bit.
A little bit.
I'm going to go for Andy Abrahams.
Andy Abrahams. Let's see how many of our 100 people said Andy Abrahams. Good. Very good. That means that 17 out of our 100 people said Andy Abrahams. That brings your total up to 25. Phew-ee, you're safe, you're through. That now means, obviously, that Sarah and Paul, you are unavoidably the highest scorers in this round, because even if David and Jean or Debbie and Mark were to score 100 points, they still wouldn't overtake your high score of 106. So I'm afraid you will be eliminated at the end of this round. However, for the remaining pairs, there are lots of pointlesses out there, and each one's worth £250. So, on to you, David and Jean. David, what's it going to be?
I think a lot of them have been said, but it might be obvious, but you never know. Katrina and the Waves.
Katrina and the Waves. Let's see how many of our 100 people said Katrina and the Waves. That's a correct answer. Very good. That means 27 of our 100 people said Katrina and the Waves. That brings your score up to 31. So, Richard, Katrina and the Waves.
Yeah, it's Britain's last winner in 1997 with Love Shine a Light.
On to our last pair, Debbie and Mark. Debbie, what's it going to be?
The only one I could think of, I'm hoping I'm right, but I have a feeling it's wrong, was that they were a duet, brother and sister. Gemini.
Gemini. They sound great. Let's see how many of our 100 people said Gemini. Good. Down it goes, 7. That means that 7 of our 100 people said Gemini. That brings your total up to 10. So that's the end of round 1, and the losing pair with the highest score, I'm afraid, is Sarah and Paul. Bad luck there, guys. You feeling a bit let down there, Paul?
Be honest.
A little bit. Well, Richard, what answers should they have gone for if they'd wanted to stay in?
I mean, there are 21 pointless answers here. There's been an awful lot of pointless Eurovision songs. Patricia Breedon, Ronnie Carroll, who was in it twice. Imani, she got no point, nil point. Bardo, Scott Fitzgerald. And Nikki French, who has a song called Don't Play That Song Again. The worst answers, the worst ones you could have had. Do you guys want to have a go? Who do you think were the most popular answers, the worst things you could have said?
Cliff Richard.
Bucks Fizz.
Cliff, number 1. Absolutely right. Bucks Fizz, number 2. Lulu, number 3. Clean sweep. Well done.
Fantastic. Well, thanks very much, Richard. OK, Sarah and Paul, remember everyone gets 2 chances to reach our pointless final, so we'll see you again next time for your final chance. Thanks so much for playing. Cheers. For the remaining 4 pairs, though, it's time for round 2. OK, guys, the round 2 category is actors. Actors. OK, so decide in your pairs who's going to go first, who's going to go second. And whoever's going first, please step up to the podium. Now, remember, Pointless is all about scoring the fewest points. You're looking for the answers that the fewest of our 100 people said. OK, let's find out what the question is. We gave 100 people 100 seconds to name as many feature films starring Will Smith as they could. Richard, can you be more specific?
Yeah, we're looking for films made for general cinema release where Will Smith gets an acting credit. No short films, no TV films, no documentaries. There are 19 films on the list.
OK, so 19 films to pick from. Right, Debbie and Mark, you're going first. Debbie, you're first up. What are you going to say?
The only one I can think of, which might be slightly obscure but still quite popular, is Bad Boys.
Bad Boys, very good. Let's see how many of our 100 people said Bad Boys. It's good. Good. It's good, 18. That means that 18 out of our 100 people said Bad Boys gives you a score of 18. Our next pair, David and Jean. David, what are you going to say?
I'm going to go for The Pursuit of Happiness.
OK, let's see how many of our 100 people said The Pursuit of Happiness. Another good one. Look at that. That means 19 of our 100 people said The Pursuit of Happiness. OK, we are looking for feature films starring Will Smith. Next pair, Ruth. What are you going to say?
Again, this is not one of my strong subjects, so I'm just going to go with Men in Black 2.
Let's see how many of our 100 people said Men in Black 2. Down it goes, 39. Not bad, that means 39 out of our 100 people said Men in Black 2. That gives Ruth and Pauline a score of 39. They are now our high scorers. On to our last pair. Christopher.
Beverly Hills Cops 2.
Beverly Hills Cop 2. Let's see how many of our 100 people said Beverly Hills Cop 2. Unfortunately, that is a wrong answer, and that means you scored a maximum of 100 points. Richard, Beverly Hills Cop 2.
Yeah, Eddie Murphy.
Yeah.
Not Will Smith, yeah.
OK, well, we are halfway through the round, so let's take a look at the scores. Mark and Debbie, you're doing fantastically well on 18. Keep up that low scoring, and you will definitely be through to the next round. Things are looking a bit cagey for Louis and Christopher there. You've scored 100, the maximum possible there. You've just got to go for a pointless on the return and hope everyone else scores as high as possible. OK, we're now going to come back up the line. Will the second players please take their places at the podium? OK, Louis, it's your turn. You are on 100. You are the high scorers. You have to score as low as you possibly can here. We are looking for feature films starring Will Smith.
I think I've got the wrong guy. I'm going for Muhammad Ali.
Let's see how many of our 100 people said Muhammad Ali. It's good. Oh, that's very good. Look at that. 9. That means 9 of our 100 people said Muhammad Ali. That brings your total up to 109. Christopher, Louis got you out of a hole there.
Hopefully.
Oh, well done. Richard, Muhammad Ali.
Yeah, Ali is the name of the film. He was certainly in that. He was nominated for an Oscar for it in 2001.
Very good. On to our next pair. Pauline, you are currently on 39. Louis and Christopher are our current high scorers on 109. That means you want to be scoring 69 or less to be certain of going through to the next round.
I think I'm going to take some inspiration from Debbie and go for Bad Boys 2.
Bad Boys 2. OK, there is the red line. You're below that red line, you're through to the next round. You're above that red line, you become the high scorers, and you are in danger of being eliminated at the end of this round. Let's see how many of our 100 people went with Bad Boys 2. It's good. You're safe. You're better than safe. Look at that, 15. Not bad. That means that 15 of our 100 people said Bad Boys 2. That gives you a total of 54 and sees you comfortably through to the next round. On to our next pair, Jean. To avoid being the high scorers, you have to score 89 or less. We are looking for feature films starring Will Smith.
I'm going to have to just go for Men in Black.
You're going to go for Men in Black. There's the red line. You have to be below that to be sure of going on to the next round. Let's see how many of our 100 people said Men in Black. Oh, you're safe. That, of course, means that 69 out of our 100 people said Men in Black. That brings your total up to a safe 88. On to our final pair. Mark, you are currently on 18. The high scorers at the moment are Louis and Christopher on 109. You want to be scoring 90 or less, otherwise you will be leaving at the end of this round.
I'm going to go for a truly awful film that he was in, Wild Wild West.
Wild Wild West. Let's see how many of our 100 people said Wild Wild West. It's good enough. Could be a truly pointless film. Sadly, it's not. That means that 18 of our 100 people said Wild Wild West. That gives you another score of 18, taking your total up to 36. So at the end of round 2, the losing pair with the highest score, I'm afraid, is Christopher and Louis. Bad luck, guys. You both said that wasn't your strong suit, was it?
Not in the slightest, no.
No, it's, not good for us, that. We're just too old for that, I'm afraid.
Richard, what answers should they have gone for if they'd wanted to do better?
Well, there was only one pointless answer, and that was Will Smith's first ever movie, which is called Where the Day Takes You. His second ever movie, Made in America, with Whoopi Goldberg and Ted Danson. That got 1 point. And The Legend of Bagger Vance. Let's take a look at the worst answers you possibly given. We've already had the 2 worst answers we could have had. Jean gave us Men in Black, which is the worst answer of all. Ruth gave us Men in Black 2, which is the second worst. And just because there wasn't a Men in Black 3, the third answer was Independence Day.
Well, thanks, Richard. OK, Louis and Christopher, you've wasted one of your chances to get through to the pointless final. We have to say goodbye to you for today, but we'll see you next time for your last chance. Thanks so much for playing. You've been great.
Thank you.
For the remaining 3 pairs, it's time for round 3.